On this week's Brit Wres Roundup, CCK Reunite as Jonathan Gresham retains the Progress World Championship at the 10th anniversary show. Our Big Daddy Dan was there and he'll be telling us all about it in just a few minutes. Zack Sabre Jr. has won the New Japan Cup. Big Damo is set to make his NJPW Strong debut against Tomohiro Ishii. Chris Ridgeway is set to return to Pro Wrestling Noah after 2 years away. ICW have announced the return of Shugs House Party on the 26th and 27th of June, and TNT Extreme Wrestling are parting ways with Powered for TV. Hello, everybody. Welcome to TNT, a Great British Wrestling podcast for Great British Wrestling, as featured on Bodyslam.net, brought to you by Powered for TV. I am the host, the Great British Attacker, Mr. Andrew Moore, and the two most, joined as always by the co-host. He is Big Daddy Dan, Mr. Daniel Allen. Just Dan for short.
There is a real advantage. There is a real advantage being Big Daddy Dan sometimes, because being big when you are at a Progress show that is all standing is great because you can see over the top of people.
Yeah, it does have its advantages every now and then. So I'll give you that, Mr. Big Daddy Dan. Still not as good as Big Daddy Unicorn, but Big Daddy Dan. Yes, because you were at 10th anniversary show. It must have been absolutely nuts. We'll get onto that in just a minute. We've got previews for next week's shows. We've got lots of news to get through, plenty of reviews to do. I think we should just get cracking right on it. Mr. Daniel Allen, 10th anniversary, Progress. You were there. Tell us.
I was there and it felt so special. You're in such a small venue. There's no screens. Okay, there's no proper entranceway. It is wrestlers coming from the back, through the crowd, into the ring. Everyone was packed into a venue that they could have sold out literally 10 times over. Probably with ease.
But I guess, as you say, the venue with the choice was because it was returning home to when the state came.
It felt special, and the fans there knew that they were in for something special. And we started off with a very special match. It was the number one contendership for the Women's Championship. It was Laura Di Matteo versus Rio versus Sky Smithson versus Alexis Falcon. And I'm not going to give away results this time. I'm going to be good. I didn't give away results on the tweet, or do you think we should?
No, did I give away results when I did it? I can't remember now.
You might have done, but I'm going to be good on this one because I think people are going to want to watch this 10th anniversary special, and I don't want to give away too much. I'm going to be the nice person, you see. This happened at our recent interview with Jesse. I can be nice. Right.
I'm sure Twitter's already spoiled most of it anyway.
The match itself was fantastic. Rio is the British number one, in my opinion, my humble opinion. The match went fantastically. Sky Smithson really shows off her striking abilities throughout. She is the true villainess. She owns that title. She needs that title, as in villainess, not the Progress Championship.
She's a prize fighter.
She is indeed. And at the end of the match, after the results, there was a beatdown as Sky Smithson, who was not successful, beat down Alexis Falcon, who was also not successful, in a very nasty, repetitive beatdown in the middle of the ring with lots and lots of boos and abuse from the crowd.
Alexis has become the whipping girl of Progress.
She certainly was at this show. One of the things I did like, I didn't mention though, at the very beginning when Simon Miller did his introduction, he did remind everybody that if there were chants that people weren't happy with, and if there were comments that people weren't happy with, do let the ring crew know, do let people know, and make sure that everybody is happy throughout the show, which I think was a really good thing to do. But yes, there we go. We then had our first unannounced match. Mr. Charles Crowley
Did he manage his intro, in that small space that you mentioned?
Yes, he did. Granted, it was difficult to hear it over the rather raucous crowd. Yes, and he has got possibly the best intro, possibly the best entrance in Brit Wres.
One of three, I think, for me. Top three intros in all of Brit Wres: Cara Noir, Man Like Doris, Charles Crowley.
And you know what? I got to see them all.
You did.
But Charles Crowley came out to take on Danny Black, the Kid Without Fear. They worked so well together. I was interested to see this match because I've not seen Crowley take on the kind of fast high flyer that Danny Black is in person. And they were great. They worked through submissions, they worked through technical wrestling, as well as Danny just being Danny, really. Absolutely fantastic match. Then we had Cara Noir versus Ilya Dragunov. Now, this was special. The chance of Cara as our champion started before he came out and ended well after the match. Ilya didn't get so much love. Go back to Enfield was one of the regular chants where NXT's performance center is.
He is an NXT UK guy. He's a WWE guy now. He's no longer a Progress guy, and he's taken on the much beloved. Every woman, man, dog, everything there is loved Cara Noir.
Well, this match lived up to their previous matches. It was outstanding, amazing, beautiful, phenomenal, brutal. The chops were massive. Just everything about it. It brought back elements of their previous matches, the sitting back to back, the fact they lifted each other up to try and get back on, but then exchanged it back into the strikes and the throwing off the rope, the Irish whips. It was just so well done. Again, I'm not going to say who the winner was, but afterwards, Cara Noir was alone in the ring. And out came Spike.
Yeah, now, it's a shame you're not going to spoil results because I want to talk about this story progression that's coming up for Cara Noir, but unfortunately we can't. We'll wait till it has been on the WWE Network, and then we will finally talk about on the WWE Network, and at that point we'll discuss this story that is possibly being told here, and I love it already.
Well, it was 25 minutes of a brutal match, and then out comes Spike. Spike chained Cara's neck to the ring ropes. Now, this is something I've not seen done really since ECW, in my opinion. A proper thick chain padlock to the ropes by the neck, and then proceeded to smash his back with a steel chair. The noise from these chair strikes had everybody in the crowd wincing. I've not seen anything like this done in wrestling since Tommy Dreamer got that beating by the Sandman. It was awful. I spoke to Cara Noir after, and he said he was still feeling very, very sore after that. It was...
I want to say that Cara Noir spoke. That's against the rules. Cara Noir doesn't speak.
I never said he spoke with words. He might have spoken to me through the means of interpretive dance.
Now that I can believe.
There you go.
There we go.
It was an amazing beatdown, and anyone that says that progress on the WWE Network is just WWE's approved thing, no. That's definitely not what it is. So that was the end of the first half. We then had the gauntlet tag for the second half. We start off with the Smoking Aces in the ring, and out come Northwest Strong. And you would have loved this, Andy. I know how much you like the Aces. I know how much you love Northwest Strong. Northwest Strong being represented by Luke Jacobs and Chris Ridgeway. I will have to give away some of the things on this because it's a gauntlet. So the Aces were victorious. They pinned Chris Ridgeway. And out came Lycos Jim. And Lycos Jim did a very Lycos Jim thing. Can you guess what it was?
Cheated.
They hit somebody with a
baking tray.
Yes, they did. Right in front of the referee. And they got disqualified. So the Smoking Aces were 2-0. And then out came Sunshine Machine. I love Sunshine Machine. I've always loved Sunshine Machine. I think they're great. And they were brilliant here. The Smoking Aces spat on them as they came out, which the crowd didn't appreciate at all. They were not impressed. TK got both members of the Smoking Aces on the top rope in a sort of double hold of a headlock on one and holding the other by the throat, and did a Spanish fly on two men off the top rope. It was insane. Never seen anything like it before. And then Sunshine Machine got the pin, which meant the Aces were out and we were going to have new champions. And out came the 0121. Represented by Man Like Doris and Dan Maloney. Now, that is a good combination. I think we can both agree on that, can't we?
Yeah, they are. Of course they are. They've been killing it for a long time. Raw athleticism with the raw aggression and power. It's always a combination that's dangerous.
It is, and it was very dangerous. Dangerous enough that I got kind of jostled as they fought into the crowd and on the bar and off the bar. The barmaids were scattering. It was great fun. Doris's 450 is brilliant. I know there's quite a few wrestlers now that can do a 450. I'm impressed. I tend to struggle to do a 90 when I fall flat on my face. A 450, I think, is a beautiful thing, and Doris hits it like nobody else. And yeah, great match. Very happy with the results. We then had not Alexis Falcon. Try again, Daniel. Alex Windsor versus the quintessential diva herself, Giselle Shaw.
I said that these two women had one of the best matches of 2021.
They had a pretty damn good one in 2022 as well. It was easily, on most shows, it would have been match of the night. It was absolutely brilliant. But with Cara versus Ilya, and then with Gresham versus Banks, they still had an absolutely phenomenal, I would say, a four sugar match, without doubt. But, oh, bless them, they were stuck in between a rock and a hard place. It was technically great, and there was a point where Alex Windsor got sent off the top turnbuckle onto the floor that just looked absolutely devastating. There was another where Giselle Shaw got thrown against the hardest part of the ring that isn't the ring post. And yeah, it was a brilliant match. May well not be the result people expect. And then we have our final match. Jonathan Gresham versus Warren Banks. And I am going to give away the result of this one because you'd have to live under a rock not to have heard what happened.
Yeah. Well, I announced it in the lineup.
There is that as well. Warren Banks is a superstar. Warren Banks, with this performance and everything he's done beforehand, yes, but with this performance and the way he was with the crowds, this is it. He is top tier. There was a moment where they were both out. So in this 10 count to get back in the ring while they were both out, we had Jonathan Gresham take down Banks. Banks couldn't get back up. The crowd lifted Warren Banks and carried him back into the ring so that he could continue. Now, I think that was a bit special. I don't think that's something I've seen done before in a Progress crowd. You might be able to contradict me, but that was special.
I remember Gresham used to use the figure 4 leg lock into a count out regularly in his previous stints in Progress as part of CCK with Chris Brooks against Eddie Kingston and the LAX members.
Yeah.
Typical Gresham, when he's using his heel work, tends to lean on this.
He is very heelish. There's no two ways about that. He can be a very nasty little man. And when he went nose to nose, or rather nose to chest with Warren Banks, he did get that. He did get that. And then the moment they start wrestling, you completely forget about that because everyone's the same height when they're lying on their back.
Yeah, and Gresham can get you to your back very quickly.
Yes, he can. It was my first time seeing him live, and I was very impressed. Absolutely sold on his skill, his technical abilities. They are just as good in real life as you see them on screen. All in all, this might well be the best match I have ever seen in my life live. I think it might even be the best match I've ever seen. It was that good, and you'll have to give me your opinion when you see it.
Yeah, will do.
Overall, I'm going to give this show... God, I think I'm actually going to do it. I think I'm going to give it 5 sugars. There wasn't a bad match. There wasn't an awful match. There were 4 absolutely outstanding matches. And the other 2 were good as well. And not just good, but great. Charles Crowley versus Danny Black was great. Alexis Falcon, Sky Smith, and Laura Di Matteo Rio was great. I think I am going to give it 5 sugars.
We need some streamers or something. Something just to come down from the ceilings, some explosions, some fireworks to go off.
There were streamers for Cara Noir and Ilya Dragunov.
I did see that, yeah. Been a while since I've seen the streamers in Progress. Big Dan, have I lost you? I believe we have lost Big Daddy Dan. Bear with us. I'm sure he'll be back in just a minute or two as internet sorts itself out. We'll move on to the next part, which is talking about Zack Sabre Jr. Bringing it home for the boys, for us here in the UK. He won the New Japan Cup. Zoom didn't seem to like your 5 sugar opinion.
No, I saw that. I was wondering what I did wrong. But again, there are so many things.
Yeah.
Can I also just give a shout out to a couple of people that I met while I was there?
Of course, go for it.
Thank you. A big shout out to the Untitled Wrestling podcast guys, Troy and Joe, really lovely blokes, absolutely fantastic. Do give them a listen. I'd like to say hello to Tate Mayfair's friend of the show who I saw there. Big hi to Tate. And I got to see the star of our latest interview, Jessie.
Oh.
Yes, she was there. She was having a great time watching and reminded me that if I had a backbone, I'd be able to stand up straighter and see more. So thanks, Jessie.
Well, you know, you did just completely insult her during that entire preview.
I beg to differ.
Well, she found it insulting.
Okay, I guess I can't argue with somebody else's opinion, because opinions are, after all, like H Hood. Right, let's move on.
They certainly are. New Japan Cup news. Zack Sabre Jr. has brought it home. He's brought it home. He's bringing the New Japan Cup home. He is the second Englishman to win the New Japan Cup in 2 years. He has won the New Japan Cup for the second time, previously winning it in 2018. Although back in 2018, he had a lot of help from the Suzuki Gagoon members, mainly Minoru Suzuki and Takami Shinoku. But this time, however, and I love this, came out to every match by himself. Even when other opponents would come with their stable mates down to the ringside, as New Japan often do, always came down to the ring by himself. He had nice new gold trunks and boots, and he moaned about Adidas, and kick pads, and he moaned about Adidas because they didn't deliver the black and gold boots in time. So that was fun. He also dedicates this win to George Michael, who helped him throughout the the cup by giving him advice every time he was concussed. So, you have to check out his set of interviews. They're absolutely brilliant, as well as the most recent Will Ospreay, what he had to say about John Moxley. That was fantastic. I just posted that on our Twitter, actually.
I do have a Zack Sabre Jr. t-shirt with one of his previous quotes on. I do think he is absolutely fantastic on the microphone.
He is. He really is. He's an underrated gem on the microphone, and this win is huge. It's incredible for him. It's massive for British wrestling to have back-to-back New Japan Cup winners from these very aisles, if you like. And I tell you what, I went back and I watched the Will Ospreay Zack Sabre Jr. match. I was always intending to, and just the best wrestling match I've ever seen.
Do you think we're going to get to see them go one-on-one in the UK for the belt? I'm not saying who holds it. I think
it's a very high possibility that we will get to see Zack Sabre Jr. versus Will Ospreay for the Rev Pro UK Heavyweight Championship in the UK in 2022. I think there is a strong possibility that we may get that, because we got to remember the fact that with him winning that match over Will Ospreay, he is one of two people in like 2 years that actually holds a victory over Will Ospreay, making him kind of the ipso facto #1 contender for the Rev Pro UK Heavyweight Championship.
But also, Zack Sabre Jr. with this win, obviously now has a #1. Well, he hasn't got a #1 contendership. He's got a championship match at his
which will be at New Japan's Dominion show, which will be later in the summer, I think. But yes, he now will face Kazuchika Okada for the thing. So he beat Shingo Takagi in the second round, which was a great match. Not as good as his first match. As the previous match against Will Ospreay. But, as I say, go back to Will Ospreay and Zack Sabre Jr. They fought so many times now. And the guys have just gotten better and better in between each fight that they've had. So... And I hope one day we actually see New Japan and Will Ospreay main event a New Japan wrestling show for the New Japan Heavyweight World Championship at some point.
I want to see a unification match for the Rev Pro and New Japan belts at Wembley Arena.
I would like New Japan to actually instate their own New Japan British Heavyweight or British Championship and give Rev Pro UK their championship back. And so Rev Pro UK can actually have a regular champion in the Willows, because
he's been there a lot.
At the end of the day, if you're going to have, if you got your choice to have Will Ospreay, you can have him 8 times in the year, or not even that. Let's say 6 times in the year. To be honest, he's probably still going to take that because he will sell more tickets than anybody else, and it's just the way it is. He's the biggest star in British wrestling right now. But back to Zack Sabre Jr., who defeated Shingo Takagi in the semi-finals. Absolutely fantastic match. Loved it. Then it was Tetsuya Naito in the final. Great match. Better than the Takagi match. Not as good as the Ospreay match, but definitely a very, very, very good match. And superb, how do you say, on the mic afterwards. Superb on the mic backstage. And really just absolutely phenomenal. I love to see this. And, Will Ospreay, I think, will probably go on to challenge for the New Japan US Championship after defeating Sanada. But of course, if Zack Sabre Jr. does win, he has an argumentative reason to be the #1 contender to Zack Sabre Jr. as heavyweight champion. So there's also that. So there's certainly lots to come from in this dynamic, and it's great. He delivered some backstage messages to Jon Moxley, which went along the lines of, I concussed Ibushi and put him in the hospital. I knocked out Suzuki-san. I fractured Sanada's orbital bone. What do you think I'm going to do to you when you're somebody I really don't like? Prick. And he also mentioned, I think it was off some comments about, apparently Jon Moxley might have said he's just going to do some flippy shit. And then the comments were, I'm just going to do some flippy shit. Mate, I just knocked out this guy. It's absolutely brilliant. I've shared on our Twitter. They are some fighting words. But before that show is Mutiny on the 10th of April, where Big Damo will be making his New Japan debut, his New Japan Strong debut against Tomohiro Ishii.
And that is as part of Mutiny. And of course, as well as that, we're going to have Aussie Open representing the United Empire with Jeff Cobb versus Jonah and Shane Haste, formerly Shane Thorne, and Bad Dude Tito. That's some big men.
Some big boys in that one, indeed. Looks to be an absolute thing. And Big Damo's former Sanity team members are actually reuniting soon as well.
Axel Tiska and Eric Young are going to reunite to face the Kings of the North at OTT's live in Limerick on April the 3rd. That'll be a great combination of teams.
Yeah, and then speaking, if we go back to Japan, Chris Ridgeway, after 2 years away from Pro Wrestling Noah, is finally making his return. It might be 3 years by now, I don't know. I saw comments earlier from him, he's just super excited and he's, blown away the fact he's going to be able to go back over there. I believe they said they was going to be part of the Stinger stable in Pro Wrestling Noah, which is, because originally he was part of Full Throttle in his last run, but Full Throttle have now been disbanded. And I believe he is sticking with Harada, who is a member of Stinger and a close friend of Chris Ridgeway, after they met last time. So good for Chris Ridgeway. But actually, just remember, if we go back to Progress, they have announced that the Atlas tournament, the winner of which will become the new Atlas champion. So they are definitely 100% reinstating and rebringing back that Progress Atlas title, last held technically by Walter, tend to think of it more last held by Trent Seven before losing it in that unification match against Walter for, which is just after their Wembley show, I think it was.
Yeah.
So obviously Walter then retired the belt to unify it with the Progress World Championship, and it's good to see that because British heavyweights is having such a resurgence as of late, and there are so many big boys to have about at the moment, and all across the world as well. So let's celebrate the big boys. They deserve it too. Yes, we're over here in the UK. We love our technical, high-paced wrestling, which tends to be why some of the smaller guys get a bigger share in UK to the bigger boys.
Now, talking about bigger boys, ICW have announced the return of Shugs House Party on the 29th and 30th of July. Now, there are some big boys going to be going for it there, including Kes Evans, and Damo is likely to be there as well, BT Gunn. What I always think about when I think about Shugs House Party, though, is the Good Housekeeping 3 match. Fighting over a sink, Liam Thompson versus Wolfgang. And there was a washing machine in the ring. Now, I've not seen a washing machine in a ring before, and I liked it. So ICW, please, can we have another Good Housekeeping match?
Well, who knows if they're listening? Hopefully they will provide it to you. After that, at some point, they will be returning to Newcastle after, 3 years again, I guess, since ICW have actually left Scotland due to a global pandemic. I
thought there were legal restrictions, no, in ICW.
So that's awesome for Newcastle. Great town, great fans, great wrestling fans over in Newcastle. Obviously, I've been to a few shows in that part of the world, including the WWE show, a North Wrestling show, a Prime Wrestling show. So I tell you, the Newcastle fans are definitely a rowdy bunch.
Another rowdy bunch of the Liverpool fans, and they're going to have a chance to meet up and have an evening with D'Lo Brown, who has been announced for the 16th of April at Top Rope Brewing, I believe it is. Yeah,
I think this is something to do with For the Love of Wrestling, also in Liverpool. So I assume he was guest there. So that's pretty cool. Go get yourself down and meet D'Lo Brown. Listen to some stories of the Nation of Domination. Find out how he did that head thing that he used to do when he came down to the ring.
The wobble that inspired so many Funko Pops. No, I love D'Lo Brown, and I really enjoyed what he did in TNA. Both in front of and behind the mics. He was, of course, one of the members of Aces and Eights.
He was, yeah. I missed his big run in TNA, which was prior to returning back to the WWE, working alongside guys like AJ Styles. But when he came back, he took more of a backstage role. Yeah. And that's where I remember him from. And definitely a lot of people who spoke very fondly of D'Lo Brown during that time. Best period for TNA as well.
Yes, it is. While we're in Liverpool, let's talk about TNT Extreme.
Indeed, that was Scottish. Alexis Falcon.
I can't do Liverpool, not without making a voice that'll end up with me getting punched in the nose.
Go really high-pitched. Alexis Falcon is set to face 3 challengers for her TNT Extreme Women's Championship at Siren's Fury, which is on the 28th of April in Liverpool. And those 4 competitors in question will be Rio, Ivy, and Max the Impaler. Also announced recently, Alex Winston's going to be making her debut at Siren's Fury, and Session with Martina will be also making her return to TNT Extreme on that date.
Dan Maloney is set to face the challenge of Dean Allmark for the World Championship at going off big time on the 9th of June in Liverpool. That's a great competitor for Dan Maloney. There's no two ways about that.
Yeah, it's one of those great contrasts of styles as well. You got a very classical technical worker that is Dean Allmark style with a smile, and then you have the pure rough and aggressionness of the Dan Maloney, the style with no smile, if you like.
That's gonna stick.
Yeah. So some big things coming in TNT Extreme's way in the near future. And unfortunately, you will no longer be able to see their journey at Powered for TV, where they have spent the majority of their life as a promotion. The two entities have separated amicably, and as of April, unfortunately, Powered for they will be going in a new direction.
But don't let that worry you, because there is still so much amazing stuff on Powered for TV. You can watch so many different British wrestling companies and shows from companies including, you ready for this?
Go.
1PW, Academy Pro Wrestling, Catch Pro Wrestling, Chicagoland Championship Wrestling, DNA Pro Wrestling, Fight Nation Wrestling, First Time Ever Events, Full Force Wrestling, Fusion Pro, Ignite Wrestling Pro, Independent Wrestling Elite, International Pro Wrestling, Jurassic Pro Wrestling, New Breed Wrestling Association, No Mercy Wrestling, Nothing But Wrestling, Odyssey Pro Wrestling, Phenomenal Elite Wrestling, Phoenix Wrestling Association, Powerful TV Classics, Pro Wrestling All-Stars, Pro Wrestling Clash, Pro Wrestling Subjective, the PW4U, Pro Wrestling for You shows, RCWA Wrestling, Relentless Alternative Pro Wrestling, Shropshire Wrestling Alliance, SOS Wrestling, Wrestling Superstar Pro Wrestling, the Lancashire Wrestling Federation. This is Wrestling, Triumph MMA, Triumph Pro Wrestling, UK Wrestling Alliance, World Pro Wrestling, Wrestle Island, Wrestle Forever, Wrestling in Hinckley, Wrestle Travel have a company there, Wrestling Extreme World Wrestling thing, and there are interviews from dozens and dozens of podcasts, and I am out of breath.
And it's not just, as I say, they keep uploading videos every single week. I mean, just in this past 2 weeks, you've got PEW, Brave New World, Wrestling in Hinckley's Hacked. You've got in DNA Pro Wrestling, It's in Our Blood, and Wrestle Island's La Isla de Papel, and that's not even including the Extreme World Wrestling, Casino Night episode 30, and Extreme Warfare. And I tell you what, you can catch all of this up right now for free if you sign up and use the promotional code TPOD, TEAPOD. You will get 1 month entirely free to view all of these great wrestling promotions, and then just stay signed up for $7.99 a month, more per month. As I say, that helps British wrestling, as helps us. It helps so many different people, and let's keep British wrestling alive.
Yes. I nearly lost my voice from that one.
Right. Before we move on to some of the NXT reviews, our roaming reporter, the UBW specialist in our mix, that he is, Mr. Stephen Sowden. He is the tribal chief of the Big Fat Geeks. He has provided us with his most recent report of Welcome to the Garden. So, Sassy Blair Clarence opened the show up against Adonis Payne for the Square One Championship. Adonis retains with some interference from the meme team. Riley, the MBF, tried his best to help Sass Central teammate, but the numbers game was just not in his favor. And after the ref was distracted, Memes hit Sassy Bear with a cutter, and Payne followed up with an awesome elbow drop. Really liking the Meme team stable. Good first match. He gives that one 3.5 sugars. Percy Trainer versus Rain. Percy did his usual arrogant PT routine to work the crowd and get the heat. which he does with ease. Percy was dominant for most of the match, and eventually Reign wins with a Boston Crab. 3 Sugars. It is the heavyweight Heartthrobs versus the Thunder Express for the UBW tag titles. I thought after a 700+ day reign as champs that today would be the day the heavyweight Heartthrobs would be dethroned. But no, fantastic high-flying up-and-comers Thunder Express just fell short. Thunder will get their day soon, as they showed they had the talent to be championship material for Sugars. Mr. Charles Crowley for Ricky Cavell versus Ricky Cavell. In a change to the advertised card, Mr. Charles Crowley replaced Levi Muir. Crowley started the match holding a balloon on a string and proceeded to fight with the balloonie in hand and was coming out on top. Eventually, Ricky managed to get a hold of the balloonie and killed him. Sad times.
Oh, bad Ricky Calvert.
Ricky Calvert then went on the offensive, but in the end, Crowley won. But it did take 3 spears to keep Calvert down, and Crowley looked shocked. 3.5 Sugars. Means versus RJ Singh. Prior to the match start, we had a special VIP turn up and take his seat in the crowd next to me and Jack. It was Hustle Malone eating a big box of popcorn. He was there to cheer on Memes and the Meme Team. The Meme Team came out this time with the additional member, Spike Valentine. Has made his decision and he has joined the faction, although he didn't look happy to be there. Memes got on the mic before the match and started to run down all over RJ's accomplishments. Boo, and said no one cared about any of them. Seriously, boo. And he should thank Memes for choosing him as his opponent and making him relevant once more. I mean, damn, boo. Memes also pointed out that he had broken a finger and was wrestling with a disadvantage. Once the match started, it was fairly even until Meme Team got involved with it. Artemis sliding a chair into the ring while Adonis distracted the ref so much that he got sent back to the back. As Means went to use the chair, Spike stopped him dead and told him he don't need to do that to win. All while Hustle was mouthing off from the crowd and having a popcorn fight with my son. The fight then came out to the ring and Hustle ended up in the wrong end of the sweet super kick from the King, which sent Malone and the popcorn flying. There were more attempts by Memes to win with shenanigans, but Spike kept stopping him and telling him that he was better than that. Singh got a hold of Memes, broken finger, and made him tap out. Then RJ relieved a beat down from her. Sorry, he has misspelled received. I've got relieved. Then RJ received a beat down from Meme Team, except Spike, who stood in the corner and Hustle. A match was then made for next month. Hustle and Memes versus RJ Singh and Sunset Skip. 4 Sugars. That made so much more sense. Tommy
I
Carl
can't
and
imagine
True.
them relieving themselves in the rest.
True.
It's a family show.
Yeah. Tommy Carl and Truman Ross fought for the UBW Heavyweight Championship. After all that entertainment in the last match, it was time for some pure wrestling. These 2 guys were awesome and definitely gonna be heading for big things this year. Seriously good match with lots of back and forth, but it was Truman who retained. 4.5 Sugars. That brought an end to a great UBW show. They will be back in action on the April 23rd in Royston with the Beyond the Truman Show.
Yeah, I'm hoping to go along to the Truman Show.
It'll be a nice day out with the family.
It should be good. Right, shall I do a bit of NXT UK?
Would you please?
Go on then. We started off with a video package of Meiko Satomura versus Isla Dawn. It was the same video package we had last week, but yay. The important thing then happened. We got into the ring and we had the Familia represented by Charlie Dempsey and Rohan Raja versus A-Kid and Saxon Huxley. And Saxon Huxley is big over with the crowd. They love a bit of Huxley.
He is a superstar and is in the NXT UK universe.
Mm-hmm. I've got to say, when I was watching this, really enjoyed it all. But there was an awesome suplex from the second rope by Dempsey onto A-Kid. Really beautifully done. A-Kid was on the second rope, Dempsey was on the on the mat and did this suplex, and then transformed it into a fisherman suplex. And the super kick into the fisherman suplex that he did as well. Everything he does. Dempsey's special. I just hope that he can do a WWE worthy promo. We haven't really had him on the microphone much so far. I really hope his promo skills are going to be up there, because he can be the next big thing.
Hey, in the end, he's you know who his dad is, right? I mean, surely he's got some of that in him.
Yes. Tearman, in the end, pulled A-Kid off the top rope. Raja hit the Seek and Destroy and pins Saxon Huxley. The bad guys won.
Yeah, this was a great match. A very physical opening match and really enjoyable. Really enjoyable.
A-Kid and Huxley make a good thrown together will they, won't they stay friends team. Really like it. We then had Eddie Dennis versus Wild Boar video. Pass. Zaya Brookside then challenged Amel and then phoned Daddy to say it's on. So that's exciting.
Yeah, wonder who her backup may be. Maybe a really tough council-ready Liverpool lass.
Somebody maybe with a bit of a gob on her.
A true liver bird, maybe. Yeah.
Somebody in a red and gold attire. I hope so. Yeah. Tyson T-Bone then took on the returning Wild Boar. I had issues with this match, suspending my disbelief. Okay.
What did I tell you?
I like Wild Boar. He seems a really nice guy, but he was giving away a foot in height and about 4 stone in weight to Tyson T-Bone. And that 4 stone is all muscle. He won it with a jumping DDT.
I mean, look, he could be a menace in a lower weight division class.
Definitely.
But where WWE doesn't have that, especially in NXT UK, for me, guys like him possibly don't really suit the roster.
I can, when I see him against Primate, which will obviously be the next match, I think I'll be able to enjoy that one more.
Yeah, but Primate's a little bit smaller, but again, he's still absolutely chiseled.
Oh yeah, he can still tear me to pieces.
Yeah,
then again, so can Ball.
So yeah, Ball can absolutely tear me to pieces, but can he defeat a Primate or can he defeat a Tyson T-Bone? I find it hard.
Well, he's already beaten a Tyson T-Bone.
Apparently so.
We then see Ilya Dragunov, who's excited to get the chance to beat Roderick Strong. I'm up for this match.
Yeah.
Kenny Williams then had his car smashed up in the most polite, clean British way I've ever seen a car smashed up. The only thing that was actually broken was the plastic hubcap, which, bearing in mind that the wheel that was left on the car at the back was an alloy, I thought was brilliant. But that's just me. Is it Gradwell that's doing it? We just don't know.
Oh, I'm sure we don't.
Well, I don't know. I mean, he might be busy now, Sam Gradwell.
Huh?
Well, there's a new club, isn't there, for people from his hometown?
That's very true.
He might be, you know.
I don't see him calling, though. Sorry.
Danny Jones versus Jordan Devlin next. This one, there was great offense by Danny Jones. He got a lot more offense in, and I genuinely thought at one point he was going to win. He didn't. He got beaten by an absolutely stunning brainbuster. But this was Danny Jones' best match since his last match. He is starting to get more and more offense in, and I genuinely think he might get to step up in the same way that Jack Stars has.
I would hope so. I'm a big fan of Jones. I honestly think he would be a great fit for the Teo Man thing if they choose to bring in somebody new or replace anybody they may choose to kick out in the near future.
Yeah. We then had a promo video for Dar versus the Driver. Mark Coffey. It was a reasonable interview. Again,
it's really amazing how they both knew exactly what each other had said, despite the fact that they obviously couldn't have. It's almost like this show is scripted.
Don't burst my bubble. Meiko Satomura versus Isla Dawn did not burst my bubble. Meiko Satomura versus Isla Dawn was brilliant. Really good match. Nice of them, though, if possible, they could do the job of updating Isla's graphics, seeing as they're using an image of her from about 2 years ago that looks nothing like the way she looks now. My daughter was very confused. She's like, who's the blonde lady back there? I was like, that's the one in the ring. Doesn't look anything like her. I was like, I know this.
No, I thoroughly enjoyed this. Obviously, Dawn has that kickboxing background, so was unable to unleash on striking with Meiko Satomura, and that was
lots of knees, lots of kicks, really, really well done. And Isla Dawn, much like earlier on with Charlie Dempsey, has a great fisherman suplex.
Yeah.
Satomura won it with a leg lock pin from a standing position into the leg lock pin. It was really nice move. And then Isla Dawn stole the NXT Championship belt and ran away slowly.
Well, the flowers weren't a good enough drinking, obviously, that she needs the championship belt to increase her magic powers.
Look, I don't mind this because it means we're going to get this match again, probably with a stipulation, hoping possibly a steel cage, because we haven't seen many steel cage matches in NXT UK, and I think
as long as it's not another Japanese street fight.
Please, not another Japanese street fight. But I think seeing Meiko Satomura in a cage match would be really good.
Yeah, no, I can see that.
Cool. Overall, I would give this week's episode of NXT UK 3 sugars.
Yeah, I would possibly agree. I can't see it being less than 3 or more than 3. So I will also go with 3 sugars. Before we move on to some of our top picks for next week, I just want to quickly talk about WXW Showcase, which will showcase up during the recent 16 Karat Gold, which was main evented by Charles Crowley and Big Guns Joe. And they had a fantastic little match. The whole show was absolutely phenomenal. Great for people who want to learn more about European wrestling and European wrestling promotions. I think there were about 6 different promotions that were being showcased overall, each providing a variety number of wrestlers. So this is a great way to jump in on something. There's so many great matches, but Charles Crowley, the unfortunate thing is they didn't license his music, obviously, so they didn't they had it live, but on the recorded showcase it's just generic WXW music, which happened to pretty much everybody throughout, because all of them typically had independent wrestling music. So which WXW couldn't license in time. So of course, so no, I was a bit disappointed. I thought they might have been able to do something with the WXW with Charles Crowley in particular. But as I say, at first the crowd seemed a bit stunned. They didn't quite know what to make of either Charles Crowley or Big Guns Joe.
Well, Big Guns Joe is a very British sense of humour.
Yes, it's very, very true. So they're probably like, Germans are like, but his guns are small. and that's the joke. But no, they did struggle to seem to grasp what was going on. But by the end of it, they definitely came away probably being huge fans of Mr. Charles Crowley, who looked very, very impressive in this match, hitting a variety of springboards and high-flying moves along with his usual holds and so forth. So really worth going out your way to watch this Carnival Championship match at WXW Showcase 2022, or it's the WXW Now and Friends Showcase. But definitely worth checking out, and really just wanted to highlight that and just say great job to both the guys who went over there and represented for Wrestle Carnival and British Wrestling.
Well done, guys. Right, should we have a roundup of amazing upcoming British wrestling this week? Our top picks.
Go for it.
Oh, good, because I really want to do this one. Friday night disco for Discovery Wrestling in Edinburgh. We have got an amazing headlining match of Eric Young versus Andy Weil and Sesh Money, Session Moth Martina and Gene Money versus the Double Ds of Debbie Dharma and Dickie Divers. We've also got BT Gunn versus Aspen Faith, Jack Morris versus Ian Skinner, which is going to be amazing. Ryan Griffin, Ryan Riley and Zach Dynamite versus Caleb Valhalla, Theodorus and Deacon Matthews.
I wonder which three are going to win that match.
Yes.
Black Country Championship Wrestling are in Tipton for Sacido. They've got a huge lineup. Lucas Cashmere versus Lee Hunter. Basham and Baby versus Wesker and MJ Grayson of BDK. Reagan defends his King of Division title against RC Chaos. CJ Rawlins versus James Mason, British legend. Clarkwood Brothers versus Muddy Mountain. Lucia Lee versus the Lunar Blue. And Man Like Derice faces Kian Fox Kelly.
On Saturday, we have Phenomenal Elite Wrestling show, and I am gutted I can't make it along this time. It is Kings of Combat in Stratford-upon-Avon. Big Jim Diehard versus Just Joe Lando versus No Adjective Dexter for the PEW World Championship. This is going to be a big one. The Prestige and Ryan the Sound Guy will be taking on the Rebellion for the Tag Team Championships. Rio versus Aurora Tevez for the PEW Women's Championship. Martin Kirby will taking on Big Daddy Unicorn, Jason Joshua. Eddie Ryan, the English Lion, is going to win the PEW Internet Championship. Harley Hudson versus LA Taylor versus Lucia Lee versus Eddie Ryan is taking on H Hood. And it is going to be a great match. And I think that it is going to really show off the talents of both guys because they are both very, very talented. Harley Hudson versus LA Taylor versus Lucia Lee versus Ronnie Knox. And JD Knight and Riley Nova will be taking on Alex Carter and a mystery partner. And Chris Ridgeway is going to make his debut for Phenomenal Elite Wrestling.
By the way, the only reason why Dan backtracked on his statement regarding Eddie Ryan was because we have worked it out with the general manager of Phenomenal Elite Wrestling that Daniel Allen will always interview H Hood at PEW events going forward. So loads to look forward to there, and definitely check that preview out. Absolutely one of the most fun I've ever had doing a preview. And I promise you, I was not just auditioning for a role as the heel commentator.
You definitely were agreeing with everything Jess said. But then again, I guess Jesse is always right.
Shit, I was just doing my best Bobby the Brain Heenan.
Yes. ICW Fight Club tapings in Glasgow. Logan Smith and Jimmy Pierce versus Reese and Rogan. Great to see them up for ICW. Kez Evans versus Stevie James. Charles Weiss and Ian Skinner versus Luke King Sharp and Krieger. ADM versus Jack Jester. Luke Cairo versus Eddie Castle. Grant McIver versus Leighton Buzzard. Anastasia versus Lana Austin. BT Gunn versus Joey Hayes. Andy Wilde versus Theodorus. Martin Kirby versus Vaughn Vertigo. That's going to be great. And Sakiba Lee versus Dylan Thorne.
Indeed. And Rev Pro UK are going to be live in London for Live in London 60. Shota Umino versus Mark Davis. Robbie X versus Lee Hunter. And Dan Maloney versus RKJ have all been announced. I'm sure there are more matchups to come. I'm sure it'll be a great show.
Catch Pro UK's New Art Riot Manchester. Daz Black will be taking on Tom Thelwell for the Catch Pro Catchweight Championship. I can't wait to see this on Powerful TV. JJ Webb versus Chantel Jordan in a lumberjack match. And Charles Crowley's spectacular
crucifixion
gauntlet match against the Crew, Jack Knudsen, Benjamin Harland, and James Grayson. Also, Rio versus Ivy for the Catch Pro Women's Championship match.
Yeah, crucifixion gauntlet. I mean, you get it right.
Because it's against the Crew. Yeah, I get it.
Exactly. I'm really looking forward to that Daz Black versus Tom Thelwell match. That literally could be a show-stealing match on any card and could possibly steal that entire week worth of wrestling because it could honestly be that good. I rate both Daz Black and Tom Thelwell that highly as young competitors.
I don't know if I've mentioned this before, but I actually have dyslexia. So when I saw the crucifixion gauntlet and it's spelled CREWICFIATION, it was literally just me like, there's my letters in Scrabble. What the hell am I meant to do with this?
Yeah. I thought when I first saw it, I'm like, oh yeah, okay, I get it. Anyway, let's get on to some further roundup. Sovereign Pro Wrestling, who have got their first ever show, first reign on the 1st of October in Manchester, have announced that a matchup between Harley Hudson and Mariah May will now be a Dream House death match.
Now, I've got daughters and we watch Barbie in the Dream House quite often. And I've got so many ideas for this match. If Sovereign Pro wants some ideas for this match at all, I have got plans coming out of... Yeah, please do. Give me a shout.
They've also announced that Danny Duggan is set to take on Northwest veteran Joey Hayes.
Wrestle Resurgence have announced the main event of their show on the 23rd of April at the Y Theatre in Leicester will be Lycos Gym versus BDSM in a 3 Stages of Hell match for the Resurgence Tag Team Championships. Also announced is Spike Trevay versus Big Jim Diehard.
3 Stages of Hell. I can only imagine what Resurgence's version of 3 Stages of Hell is going to be. They are one of the most creative in match building there is, I think, in the way that they build some of their matches. So this will be really interesting. I think should be a good match. DNA Pro Wrestling Tag Team Champions, the lads Ben Jones and Alex Echo will be defending their tag team championships against the team of Tim Lee and Cobra in a beach party death match. Everybody get up. It's time to Space Jam on the 16th of April in Ipswich. Is this the new trend? Weird death matches. Beach ball death match was Chuck Rambo versus Clint Margera, an up-and-coming kamikaze show. We've now got the Dream House. We've got a beach party death match, and
nothing will beat the Good Housekeeping.
I just love good old-fashioned professional wrestling. All right.
As I believe the Bards Reef once sung, year old. Robbie Cross, Robbie X is coming to Wrestle Carnival.
What were you about to say?
I nearly said Robbie Carnival. Yeah. Robbie Carnival is going to Wrestle X. Robbie X is going to Wrestle Carnival. He is going to make his long-awaited debut for the Carnival at Ringmasters on the 10th of July in Coventry. Also announced is Brady Phillips versus Warren Banks at Carnival's The Hunt show on the 22nd of May in Nottingham. So that is going to be a bit special.
That is The Hunt. Just have to be clear. PW have announced that they'll be renaming their women's championship and their women's division to the Fallen Angel Championship and the Fallen Angel Division in honor of Nancy Benoit.
Ignite Wrestle Pro. 3 huge matchups have been announced for their All or Nothing show on the 15th of May in Boreham Wood, including Forrest Hayes taking on Warren Banks to crown our first ever champion. Ooh. Sapphire Reed and Kira Chimera both debut, and John Tavius, Jackson Hart, and Xander Bryant enter the breakout division.
Hey, it's Nico's younger brother, Xander.
Yay.
It's going to be our first chance to see this young man in action. CJ Carter, of course, big demo when we spoke to him. Great looking show again for Boreham Wood. Love the fact of how much Warren Banks gets around.
Speaking of Warren Banks, he's going to be at Jurassic Pro Wrestling.
He is.
JPW have announced 5 matchups for their 10th show, Carnivore Carnage, in Harwich. I really like the look of this lineup. CJ Carter versus Nick Payne. Mia Cortez, the Goddess of Dragons, versus Amira Blair. The Lads versus the 8-7 of Warren Banks and Roy Johnson. Xander versus Hustle Malone. And Tommy Kyle versus Dexter.
Great looking card. British Wrestling Revolution BWR Cruiserweight Champion Scotty Rourke will defend his title in a triple threat against Leon Slater and Jet Marshall at Underground X or Underground 10 at the Casablanca Cup in Grimsby on April 22nd.
And double Cameron Solis news from TNT. TNT Ignition's champion, Cameron Solis, is going to put his Ignition Championship on the line to get some revenge on Sam Bailey at TNT Ignition Aftershock on the 22nd of May. And it has been announced also in May there is going to be an evening with Cameron Solis where you can go along and listen to an interview with the man himself. Tickets are only £5. And that is going to be at the Round the Corner in Liverpool on the 10th of May.
Oh, that is awesome. One of the young trainees under the leadership or stewardship of Zach Gibson and James Drake. So I'm sure he has plenty of stories to tell as a member of the Fighting Spirit Academy. Some quick Euro wrestling news for you. Lucha Libre, the House of Lucha Libre in Barcelona. Lycos Gym are heading to Barcelona on the 16th of April to be part of Lucha Libre's Lucha Libre Barcelona 5. The pair will also be holding a seminar. They have actually already arrived in Barcelona because they just were with Spanish promotion Relentless as well.
They have been. Maybe they're going to be having like a 2.5 to 3 week holiday. Bodyslam Pro Wrestling have revealed the full roster lineup for all women's show on the 2nd of April in Denmark from Sweden. And I'm going to throw this straight back to Andy so that I don't cock up the pronunciations.
Okay, so it's from Sweden are Betty Rose, Six, Alice Inc. and Lexi Lux. From Norway, Miss Mina. From Finland, Regina Rosendahl. From Austria, Elena Morgensterner.
Looks good to me.
From Spain, Maria de la Rosa. From France, Calypso, Israel's Gaia Glass. And UK's Heidi Katrina, Emerson Jane, Clementine, and Aisha Raymond.
You did that really very well.
Awesome to see European women's wrestling really becoming a bigger deal. I mean, over here in the UK, we're so used to it. We counted nearly 100 in the UK of amazingly talented British women wrestlers. And in Europe at the moment, you are around about 5 to 6 in per country, and it's good to see that that's been brought up higher, and great to see.
WXW Germany's 16-karat gold Revenge. Hector Invictus and Dennis Cash Dooling have their chance at revenge when they face Rot and Flot. That's Nikita Charisma and Michael Schenkenberg.
Yeah, Rotten Flot is Rotten and Dirty, I think, was it? So there you go. That should be a great show. WXW 16 Carat Revenge Tour. So many great matches on that card, which is on, it's April 3rd, I believe. April 2nd. April 2nd, my apologies. I'll be checking that out once it is available on WXW now. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, I literally can't breathe because my nose is completely blocked up. So just remember one thing. Sorry, Dan, were you about to say something?
I was going to say, remember two things. Firstly, subscribe to Powered 4 TV using our code TPOD. Secondly, thank you so much to Progress for having us for their amazing 10th anniversary show. And thirdly, ladies and gentlemen,
don't feed the trolls.